The NFL head coaching carousel is spinning pretty wildly. How the hell does that impact the Jets, both here in 2024 and potentially next offseason in 2025? Let's get into it.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, everybody. Paul Ashton Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you find your podcast by simply searching for Boy Green Daily. Whether you're a first-time rider on the Boy Green Daily Express or a multiple-time offender, we appreciate you all the same. So thanks for popping on with us here on a Saturday morning. We do these, again, live every single friggin' day at 7:30. I want to give a special shout out right off the top of the show. We've been chasing this number for quite some time, and it's impossible without you, the fans. Because me personally, I'm in the regalia. I am a diehard New York Jets fan, and this content, this channel is built exactly for you New York Jets fans out there in the universe, and we surpassed yesterday 6,000 subscribers midday yesterday. So I just want to say thanks, everybody. 6,000 subscribers means the world. Thank you so much. And hey, cheers, baby. We're up to we're shooting for 7,000 now. So God bless and thanks everybody for joining us today. Just want to give a special shout out to kick this puppy off. Without further ado, let's go to our superstar. I mean, what? ESPN 98.7? ESPN, New York. What do they have? A cajillion subscribers? Look at him joining us here on the show. That is Ty D. Butler of ESPN 98.7. Let's bring in the superstar himself here on the show right out of the green room. What's up, Ty?
Yo, what's up, man? Championship weekend. We here, baby. We
are.
What's going on?
Well, I know some people see some of the images behind. We got Vrabel, Pete Carroll back in his 1990s Jets days. And, oh, yeah, there's Belichick. That's back when he was a defensive coordinator of the Jets in the 90s. Good times. But, Ty, some people would like the Jets to hit the eject button on Robert Saleh right now for a number of coaching options, but that won't be happening, as the Jets have made that very, very abundantly clear. But with the dance, the game of musical chairs, right? There's only two chairs left, and there's more than two worthy candidates, which means when the music stops, someone's ass ain't going to have a seat to sit in, which means that this could impact the Jets, because obviously if this thing doesn't work out this year, it's going to blow up, and there could be some sexy candidates on the board for that possible scenario in 2025.
Yeah, let's throw a wrench into that emotional, equation there.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're a Jet fan, the only way you see some type of a coaching change is if this season is an unmitigated disaster and Woody is forced to hit the eject button, as you mentioned, and say, it's not working. Not a single Jet fan watching this, listening to this, or around the country is rooting for that to be the scenario. You're going into next season, for better or for worse, with high hopes, understanding that, with a solid off season, you can kind of take advantage of, obviously, a lot of the strengths you have, defense, some weapons on offense, Rodgers coming back. So you're hoping that you don't get to. But you're hoping you don't get to that point. But I texted you this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Belichick is not going to get a job because it feels like, as, the reporting has come out, he wants more control than what's being offered. And the Falcons front office put their heads together and they're like, wait, one of the jobs Belichick wants is the one that I'm sitting in? Yeah, we're good on that. Arthur, let's go in a different direction. Raheem Morris, come on up. So it feels like he's not going to get the job, which means that there's going to be a reset next year. And for Belichick, I mean, I get he's going to be, what, 73?
Yeah.
It could actually work out for him because, two jobs that we thought, or three jobs we thought that could possibly open up in the playoffs were Dallas, Buffalo, and Philadelphia. They all obviously decided to retain their head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have his pick of the litter next year.
Sure.
And I think those teams would be more attractive. I don't think he's ever going to get as much control as he wants. I think it would be foolish. But, the Jets and the Giants, of course, have head coaches going into this season, theoretically on the hot seat. That could be of interest. The only thing with Belichick I would question is, like, let's just say this season is a failure for the Jets. What would be why is that job attractive next year? You've got an aging quarterback.
Yeah.
You've got a team that for the third straight year underperformed, and this will be the latest example of it with your quarterback in theory. And even if you throw Rodgers got hurt again excuse into it, that doesn't make it more attractive that he's been hurt back-to-back seasons. So I would wonder why Belichick would be even interested in that job.
Yeah, it is interesting on a lot of realms. By the way, just for Atlanta's sake, you have sucked forever. Why wouldn't you be willing to mix it up and say, yeah, we'll give him more control? Where else could it go? You're already here. The only direction could possibly, just for giggles, all right, let's take this Ferrari out for a spin. This old Mustang. I don't know, but I will ask you this, Ty: if things go nuclear and they don't work out for the Jets. So the two openings that are left right now are the Commanders and the Seahawks. There seems to be a lot of buzz about Ben Johnson being the next Commanders head coach. And then in Seattle, it looks like Dan Campbell and the other name's escaping me, but it's not supposed to be on our screen. There's another name that Seattle is kicking the tires on. My brain molecule.
Is it Dan Quinn?
Yeah, Dan Quinn, and I can't think of whoever the second person is. There's someone else that they're considering that's not coming to my mind right now. But anywho, so that means if that happens, and it's not Vrabel, it's somebody else, but if that happens and Vrabel would be one of the guys, would he be the clear guy for you next year if the Jets... Again, if this thing goes nuclear, it's an interesting conversation to have with so many really good coaches out there. Would Vrabel be the number one guy on your hit list if he ends up sitting out? Because, again, we're almost out of spots here in the dance. And then next offseason, it goes nuclear. You go, well, let's get a former coach of the year. Would he be number one on your list, or who would be?
Yeah, so the Seahawks are looking at both Vrabel and Ben Johnson. And if Vrabel doesn't get a job, maybe Ben Johnson gets that job with Seattle. Would Vrabel be my number one target?
Yeah.
I guess it depends, man. Like right now, sure. Like Belichick, Pete Carroll, obviously Harbaugh just got the job. It depends because what if, the Steelers finally miss the playoffs, right? And, the streak of 17 straight winning seasons comes to an end and Tomlin decides he wants to depart. He immediately becomes my number one option. So I think as it stands,
too. Matthias, Todd Monken. A lot of people wanted him. The Adam Gase cycle. I believe the Jets interviewed him, but it never went anywhere. And he's the Baltimore Ravens OC. It's another one people are talking about.
And I mean, think about the season Monken's had because they get rid of Greg Roman. That's not working. Lamar comes in fresh off of signing a new contract. There was some skepticism early about making that offense more pass happy because it might not have been conducive to his skill set for those people who questioned whether or not Lamar could be a pocket passer. And we just watched him have the best season of his career. So Todd Monken is an interesting name. He's definitely going to get some. If the Ravens, win the Super Bowl and then they go on and have another excellent season next year, he's going to be in the conversation too. But Vrabel, Tomlin is going to be a name that surfaces again, and then all these other jobs that could become available. But right now, I would say, it has to be Vrabel.
Okay, we're about to get to the Conference Championship Sunday, but a few more quickies before we get to that point. I know the entire offseason has to happen. Free agency, draft, trades, all kinds of things for the Jets. But as things currently stand, if you had to prognosticate for next season, but whether confidence level or then actual results, what would you say for the New York Jets is your prediction? Do you believe this is a playoff team? Do you believe this is a insert win team? Or can you not go in those waters yet until you see what happens?
Yeah, I can't go in the waters yet. But what I will say is the news this week, Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers made that, path a little bit more arduous because that's another team you throw into the mix.
Hmm.
Justin Herbert, however you feel about him, there are people who say he's overrated.
Definitely
No
overrated.
one is
Yeah.
going to argue that he's not, at least from a talent standpoint, one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. So think about Jim Harbaugh now, who's a quarterback whisperer. Every quarterback has gotten to their ceiling with Harbaugh. Like, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick got to a Super
Sure.
Bowl,
Yeah.
college, JJ McCarthy. Like, every quarterback gets better once Jim Harbaugh is on those sidelines. So place him wherever you think Herbert ranks in all of football. He is going to elevate his game and finally knock on the door of hitting that ceiling. And look, they've got talent. I know, Mike Williams hurt last year, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, of course, um, Palmer, the tight end. Like, they've got some talent on that team. Even defensively, they've got a lot of talent with Mack and Bosa. They've underperformed. It's Asante Samuel Jr. But that's another team now that you have to be concerned about.
Hmm.
So it's just we know nothing happens on paper, right? Like, who had Joe Burrow getting hurt?
Sure.
The Browns still made the playoffs, but Deshaun gets hurt. Herbert got hurt. Like, who really knows? But you just look at all the teams, man. Especially if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, it's them. It's the Chiefs. The Bills are going to be there with Allen. Miami is still a play. I know Miami can't beat good teams, but they're still obviously in the playoff mix. Got the
Sure.
Bengals with Burrow coming back. Herbert now hooking up with a competent head coach, not Anthony Lynn, not Brandon Staley. So it's a loaded conference, man.
Two quick wide receiver questions. You mentioned Mike Williams, and we haven't talked about him at all on this channel, but I've heard from Chargers people there's a very big chance to either cut him or trade him for like nothing to
He's
remove the
always
cap
hurt.
space because they're in cap hell. Exactly my point. And he just has these invisible streaks even when he's not hurt. And then you ask yourself, can I check the injury report? Is he injured? Oh, no, he's fully healthy. Oh, I see. And he just doesn't show up. So I will assume with that answer, you have no interest as a
Yeah.
backup plan going after Mike Williams.
Nah, man, he's always hurt. We saw the guy who should be at the top of the list last week ball out in that game in Detroit, and Baker's throwing them dimes. Mike Evans had a inauspicious beginning to that game where he's
Got a little
dropping
wayward.
passes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually was saying to a buddy next to me, I'm like, yo, this dude's got to catch the ball. He's like, the defense, and they show the replay, and it hits Evans in the hands, near midfield. I'm like, yo, he's got to catch the ball, and he starts balling out. So then, an hour later into that game, I turned to him and I said, the reason why I'm so adamant and I'm scrutinizing Evans so much in this game is because for me, this is an audition. Not that he has to audition, but like in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm watching a guy who could be a wide receiver for the Jets, so I want to see him ball out, and he did it. He did at the end of that game.
I love that perspective. We're in an auditorium and Ty's at the table. Go ahead, please state your name. Hey, everybody. Mike Evans, wide receiver. All right, show me what you got, kid. Let's go. Timer's up.
Let's see the tape. I'm looking at the all 22, man.
This is the auditorium. And the other name I want to ask about, we did a full video on the channel last night. You guys can check it out. Connor Hughes of SNY was on WFAN radio, and he was asked by Brandon Tierney and Sal Licata, predict who the wide receiver 2 will be for the New York Jets. And he said, I'm going to go with a wild one. It's Calvin Ridley. And he gave all this insider juicy intel about why it's not just a random name he's pulling out of his hat. The Jets have had interest in him prior, and it looks like he's going to hit the open market because it sounds like the Jaguars will tag pass rusher Josh Allen. Do you have interest in Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, man. I actually thought Calvin Ridley was going to help provide more of a spark for that Jags offense. And he had a decent season, but the Jags just, whether it's injuries or Trevor Lawrence just not living up to the hype, it never panned out. But yeah, I'd be interested in him. How old is Calvin Ridley?
29. He is 29, and he does not turn 30 till like a meaty part of the season. Like it's on in September. It's like maybe November, December is when he turns 30. He skipped a year, so that has to factor into the age thing. He didn't play in 2022. And 2021, he only played in 5 games because he had the mental issues, so he pulled himself out. So he's probably not as old as his age even would indicate that he is.
Yeah, he's not gonna turn 30 until December 20th.
There you go. Yeah.
He's close to Rogers, right? Rogers'
Yeah, I
birthday,
heard someone said I couldn't find it last night when I did the quick video and article
December
about it.
2nd.
Yeah, they're oh yeah, oh birthday wise.
Yeah, they could be
They're pretty
sharing
close.
a
Yeah.
nice little birthday party. We know
Yeah.
that Rogers is big on the birthday parties. We
And
saw that.
Sauce Gardner, I don't know if you saw that, Ty, but he tweeted out the two receivers he'd like to see the Jets sign. Calvin Ridley made his general manager list. So we need to get Sauce in the front office immediately if we didn't need him on the field so bad. But yeah, so okay, a little spicy there. All right, let's get to Conference Sunday. Both of these games. Oh yeah, wait, Ty, I forget. I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Are you a wrestling guy or not a wrestling
I
guy?
used to be a wrestling guy.
I
I
was
was
about
a
to say.
big wrestling guy, late '90s, early 2000s.
Look at that. Look at that. Well, The Rock could be back. So I'm just saying the
Yeah,
Royal Rumble tonight, baby. Love
Royal
that pay
Rumble
per view.
tonight. The Rock just trademarked his name, so he's got
Yeah.
full ownership of that, and he's got the what is he now? He's not the CEO, but he's high
It's
ranking.
something like that. Yeah, I
He's
can't
got a
remember.
big
He's on the
title.
board of directors or something. And I'm going to
Yeah.
be hanging out with our mutual buddy from ESPN, Brandon Clements. I haven't seen that bastard in a while. So we're going to all
Oh,
link up for the Rumble. So there you go.
yeah, nice.
We'll have you in spirit, Ty. We'll have you in spirit. We'll have you in the room.
Remind him about his cow. Like he spent all year long,
Oh,
hyping up
yeah.
the Cowboys. Remind him that they got bounced in round one, and they
Will
won
do.
just as many playoff games as the Jets this year.
Yeah, I'll let him know that in person, and also the fact that the Jets have been to 3 AFC Championship games since the Cowboys have been to one.
Yeah.
I will definitely inform him of that factoid. So we got the Rumble tonight, but tomorrow we got a Rumble in a couple of other places, including Baltimore and San Francisco. We'll start at 3 o'clock CBS. We've got the Kid City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are a 4-point favorite at home. Do you like the defending champs, or do you like the Ravens, who seem like it's the year of Baltimore on the Chinese calendar?
Here is why this game is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Everything should suggest that the Ravens not only win but they roll. All the numbers are in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
You watch these two teams play; they clearly have the better defense. Their offense this year has been much better. And I mean, I don't think historically Mahomes or Lamar is better than Mahomes, but this season he's been better. He's going to win
Definitely.
the MVP. And they're at home coming off of a dominant win against a Texans team that dominated the Browns the week before. So everything is pointing in the favor of Baltimore. What we keep coming back to, and this reminds me of like Brady in his heyday, LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to, with conviction, pick against Patrick Mahomes. Like there's enough evidence
Yeah.
that we just don't care what the circumstances. Last year, remember, he was on one foot, on one leg, beats the Bengals, beats the Ravens. This guy just defies all the odds, to use a cliche. So I don't do it with conviction. I do think the Ravens are going to win this game because I think they're the best team in football. They've been the best team all year. They've got a plus 203 point differential. They're not just beating good teams; they're blowing them out. 6-0 they are against teams this year that enter the game at least 3 games over 500, and they've won by an average of 26 points a game. So I mean, they're like historically great, right? Like that. The numbers suggest that they're historically great. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I say it with a little like I'm whispering it because I don't want Mahomes to hear me.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know if you know this about him. I barely do because I'm not in Kansas City. The Chiefs fans try to get him material on a week-to-week basis. Jets Chiefs week. Okay, let's bring it back Jets land real quick. Week 4, Jermaine Johnson does an interview with the team reporter on the Jets website and just says like, "Oh, we got a plan for Patrick Mahomes." That's all he says. We got a plan. And I tweet out the video, and all of a sudden it goes crazy. And Chiefs fans go, "Well, that's all we needed." And then Patrick Mahomes referenced it in an interview, and I'm like, "What? That's the only place it was? It was a quick 30-second clip. How did this get in Patrick Mahomes' hands?" And apparently someone said that they tagged Patrick Mahomes like trainer or something, and he showed the video to Mahomes to like give him motivation. What the hell? Do you have not enough motivation as well, you bastard? So yeah, that makes me sick.
Yeah, I mean it's similar to Jordan, right? Jordan was like that. Kobe was like that. Brady, like they just need that extra juice, that extra layer of motivation. I mean, it's a championship game. What do you need motivation for? But even going back to last week,
Mm-hmm.
where I forget who the defensive player. Well, I'm blanking on the guy who
Oh,
plays.
it was Deion Dawkins.
Yeah, Deion
I believe
Dawkins.
the left
Yeah,
tackle. He's the one who said, Patrick's never played with fans here in Buffalo. Good luck.
yeah. And how'd that
Jeez.
work out for him? And
Yeah.
Mahomes realized that he got the last laugh, and he said he tweeted something about it after the game. So
Yeah, him celebrating in the end zone with the caption "Good luck."
yeah,
Wonder what he could have been referencing. That
yeah.
bastard. So I said it last week when I was weighing between the Bills and Chiefs. I'm like, man, the defending Chiefs getting points. Wow, this is oh boy.
Getting 4 points, man.
Yeah, and they're getting even more. Yeah, obviously this week. So yeah, it's crazy. So okay, let's go to the NFC Championship. Detroit, San Francisco. San Francisco has been in the NFC Championship game more than any other team in NFL history, and Detroit is here for a second time. So San Francisco has been there 17 times. Detroit, number 2 time on the bucket list. 49ers are currently a 7-point favorite at home against the Lions. That seems large. The
I like
49ers barely survived against the Packers, man.
I like the Lions plus the points. I actually think they got a good shot to win this game. So there's two different perspectives, right? Like you can say the Niners obviously dodged the bullet and got fortunate. They were playing a Green Bay team that once the pressure rose, they just couldn't match the effort and intensity. The pressure the Packers never felt against the Cowboys because they just smoked them from opening kickoff. So you can say that they got lucky, they got fortunate because Green Bay did everything in their power to hand that game to them late. And maybe for the Niners, they got it out their system. Or it comes back to how you feel about the quarterback and Brock Purdy, who was awful for the first 3 quarters of that game, and really the first 3.5 quarters before he orchestrated that game-winning drive and was throwing dimes. So people make a lot about the Lions, their pass defense not being great. The Niners can throw all over them. Quietly, that Niners defense isn't as good as it used to be. And the Detroit's got some. We know Detroit's got weapons. Laporte is officially. He played last week, obviously, but he's officially off the injury report.
Wow.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Gibbs, and Montgomery. They've got weapons, man. And I think this team is going to be able to put up a lot of points. This is going to be a closely competitive game. I'm picking Detroit. I'm going with Detroit. Plus 7.
All right.
Give me the 7 points. I'm taking Detroit.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much. I will
I
take
think it's actually
all
up to 7.5.
Oh,
So
is
I love
it?
the
Yeah.
hook. I love the hook.
Yeah, very nice. Yes, yeah. Screw the push, baby. Give me it outright. I love that opportunity. Love it. Well, Ty, it's really cool, and obviously we get this weekend spot with you through the Super Bowls. We still got a couple more weeks here at least, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing these, man. The fans really love you, man.
Yo, shout out to the fans, man. Hopefully we continue to get some juice. We can start throwing comments on. You guys want to feed us questions? We do that throughout the show. That'd be good. So let's get it popping, man.
Yeah, so keep that coming, boys. Keep that coming. And again, careful what you wish for, Ty. You might just get it. So fans, there you go for the next time. We'll keep those popping. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow, my father, a little hop on pop action. He'll give his predictions for this gosh darn conference championship Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you then tomorrow morning, everybody. Until then, take care.